Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Beyond Report, covering the, I want to say, 5th month of Spider-Man Beyond. So, the end of issue 88, which was part 14, we were introduced to Queen Goblin. So, issue 89 begins showing Queen Goblin's birth, so to speak. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is attempting to, Peter Parker is going through physical therapy, and he's trying. As he further tries, Black Cat shows up, basically explaining that, hey, there's a goblin attacking the Bugle, but his less than stellar display has her apprehensive about letting Peter go into the fray, and so while she does leave him a web shooter, she uses another web shooter to, web Peter to his bed and the wall. And so Queen Goblin ends up attacking Mary Jane, but Black Cat shows up, saves the day, but Black Goblin Queen has a goblin gaze, so to speak, which kind of it's basically it amplifies one's insecurities, and she uses that on Black Cat, and then drops her. But as she falls, she's saved by a web line from Peter. And it just so happens that Felicia's got a Spider-Man suit, so he puts it on, goes after her, and Black Cat does try to warn him, hey, she's different from any goblin you faced before. And she even asks if he's ready for her, and he tells her that that's his secret. He's never ready. But as he runs off into battle, before we get a flashback to 5 minutes previously, Janine, Ben's girlfriend, cut Peter loose from the webbing on the wall. That's where issue 89 ends, which brings us to issue 90. Issue 90 is the big fight between Queen Goblin and Spider-Man. So, at the end of issue 88, when Queen Goblin attacked the Bugle to stop Janine from turning over a drive which was full of sensitive Beyond Corporate information, Ben went to save her. And he did. But rather than get her out of the way and then go back to fight Queen Goblin, he just swung off and left Mary Jane to Queen Goblin send her mercies. So we start off with where that left off, with Ben and Janine swinging away, and Janine kind of wondered what's going on. But it turns out that everything that Ben's been dealing with during his tenure with the Beyond Corporation has been set up by the Beyond Corporation. There's a facility on Staten Island, which is the home of their supervillain program. Turns out that building is the same one that Miles Morales recently stormed alongside his clone Shift. More on that later. But Ben intends to bring down the supervillain program, but he knows he's pretty sure he can't do it alone, and he knows exactly who can help. Peter Parker. And yeah, Peter does not have the best time dealing with Queen Goblin. I mean, new villain. You got to show that the new villain's a threat. But she hits him with the Goblin Gaze and drops him in the river. And he sinks to the bottom. But he gets over the gaze and makes his way out of the river. And manages to knock Queen Goblin off of her glider, though the glider picks her back up. The Coast Guard rescues Peter, and he gets some web fluid cartridge refills. But it turns out that he knocked Goblin Queen's crown off, which is how Beyond Corporation is communicating with her. And so Mary Jane, Black Cat, and Spider-Man listed in. And Peter and Ben meet up at Staten Island and go after the supervillain facility together, which is where issue 90 ends. Which brings us right to issue 91. Which asks the question, what lies behind door Z? Oh, lurks. What lurks behind it? Yeah. So, dealing with some of the supervillain division projects, which are definitely not ready for prime time. But Ben is having issues based largely on all the reprogramming that Beyond's been doing to him. And it is affecting him but the Spider's getting gets an assist from the Daughters of the Dragon, Misty Knight and Colleen Wing. They deal with more of the supervillain project, and Ben manages to track down a computer. But Maxine appears from via hologram to insist that he come back, he return to work. She's ready to open door Z, and well, Ben just opts to do it for her. And Ben says he's coming for Maxine. And he's coming for answers. But door Z then opens, and, well, there's something inside. It's the Lizard. Big. And that is where issue 91 ends. Now we've got two additional tie-ins. We've got issue 88.BEY, which focuses on the Slingers. So, during King in Black, it was shown that the original Prowler, Hobie Brown, is utilizing the costume identity Hornet. Hornet was a member of the Slingers. The Slingers started off as being, if I remember correctly, a quartet of alternate identities that Spider-Man used during a story called, if I remember correctly, Identity Crisis. Four others would take the identities themselves. If I remember correctly, Prodigy Prodigy was kind of involved in Civil War, and in fact, he ended up working with the Initiative, and I think later the New Warriors. There's also Dusk, And oh, I actually do not remember the other identity. Ricochet, Ricochet, yeah. Um, so um, basically, after King in Black, um, Hobie decided to start a charitable fund for survivors of major superhero catastrophes. But the fund ends up getting the company running that gets bought, and the whole and it was apparently a very sizable amount. But doing some digging on Beyond Corporation, it seems a bit too good to be true. So, as Hornet, Hobie does a little bit of, prowling. And manages to steal, copy a good deal of information. But he was followed by Dusk. And she's been having flashes of the other slinger, Ricochet, and thinks he's in trouble. So her and Hobie go to Herkimer County, New York, to find him, and they do. He is working for the Beyond Corporation, dealing with giant tardigrades. But the three that managed to take care of the problem, that managed to shut down the problem that Ricochet is dealing with, and Ricochet's supervisor gives Hornet his card, identifying himself as Dr. Elliot Swenson, and that is where the issue ends. Will we see the Slingers before the conclusion of Beyond again? Before the conclusion of Beyond, we'll find out this month, won't we? Anyway, our final tie-in was in Miles Morales Spider-Man number 35. So after Beyond Corporation hit Miles with a cease and desist, Miles and Shift are doing some digging, and they found the Staten Island facility. And turns out the assessor is there. The assessor appears to be an AI that's been contracted by the Beyond Corporation. But Shift and Miles deal with quite a few assessor drones. It's an AI that basically creates robot bodies. So yeah. But then Quantum shows up, and but this time Miles is ready for Quantum and actually manages to take him down, with the assessor stating that Quantum's performance metrics are subpar and declining rapidly. And it's clear that we learn that Quantum is truly being forced to do everything that basically to work for Assessor. But they find the power core of the building, which is where the energy readings are coming from. Shift and Miles deal with with more assessors, with Quantum helping out as well, and Quantum is able to get Miles where he needs to be to actually do some damage to the building, which he does, and Quantum explains that he's been working with the assessor for 2 years, Beyond Corporation essentially kept Quantum caged. And as he leaves, Quantum suggests that Miles check out the black doors, which appear to be each one has a monitor for a different dimension, like a catalog. And on one of the monitors, Miles sees his Uncle Aaron, and so him and Shift go through one of the portals, and that is where the issue ends. Which also does somewhat set up the What If Miles Morales miniseries. Last week we had a What If, the first issue where we see a world where Miles became Captain America. Next we're getting a What If where he becomes Wolverine. There's also a Hulk 4, and there's supposed to be the fifth issue just to kind of bring all of them together. So I kind of hope that maybe also the Miles we all know and love is also brought in, but we'll see. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.